Hello, this is a recording on FIN2601. It's the third recording in this module. So we've been going through the module, and to date we've looked at study unit 1 and also study unit 2, and today I want to wrap up study unit 3, which is titled Time Value of Money. And then I'm sure the rest of these study units I'll be able to cover them in one video, maybe 2 years. But ideally I want us to be done by end of April or maybe the first week of May. Okay, but I'll try to take us through this relatively quickly. So today I want to wrap up the time value of money. Right. So if you remember in the last video, I took you through the time value of money, and at the end of the recording, I asked you to look at these questions: May, June 2019, question 18, 19, 20, 22, 25, and 26. May, June 2019, question 18, 19, 20, 22, 25, and 26. So I'm going to take you through these questions, and then when I've taken you through these questions, I'm going to look at the remaining parts left in this module. Okay, so let's open May, June 2019, question 18. The question is up on the screen now. The question says, Adriel has borrowed 8,130, right, today from his credit card to purchase a lounge suite. The interest rate is 13% compounded monthly. How long will it take for him to pay off his debt if he does not change anything and makes regular monthly payments of 532 Rand? So he borrowed 8,130 Rand today. So we need to input the following. Sorry, actually the solution is here. We need to input the following. 532 is the PMT. That's the payment is going to be making per month. The present value, 8,130, is put as a negative. We always put a present value as a negative. The interest rate is 13% divided by 12, because we've been told that it's compounded monthly and we want to calculate N. Okay, so we take our financial calculator and we input the relevant values into our financial calculator. Okay, I'll just put the financial calculator up on the screen just to illustrate to you how we would do that. There we go. So we clear the calculator. You always start by clearing your calculator, red shift button C, and then it's 532 as our PMT, 8130 negative as our PV, 13 divided by 12 as our interest, and then we press N. So this 16.8 is actually months. This is actually months. So we need to divide it by 12 to change it to years. So the answer will be 1.4 years. Please be careful with that. It's a common mistake. If you are working with compounded monthly, it means that the answer you get is months. So you need to divide it by 12 to get years. So the correct answer is 1.4 years. And you see the 16.8 is also, given as one of the options. So always be careful of that. Read the question carefully. And remember, if it was compounded monthly, you need to change your answer in 2 years. It's a common mistake. Okay. The next question I asked you to look at was question 19. Question 19 said Heidi estimates that she will owe 68,113 student loans by the time she graduates. The interest rate is 6%. If she wants to have this debt paid in full within 8 years, how much must she pay each month? Okay. So 8 by 12 is the N, because it's compounded monthly. 68,130 is how much she wants to pay. 6% is the interest compounded monthly, right? It's all compounded monthly. Okay, they didn't say it's compounded monthly, but we know it's compounded monthly because they've said how much must she pay each month. So if they say that, it means that you're dealing with months, and then we want to calculate the PMT. Again, we take our financial calculator. Always clear your calculator, make sure it's on 1 PYR. That's very important, right? Always make sure your calculator is on 1 PYR. Then we say 8 times 12. This is N. 68,130 is FV. 6 divided by 12 is interest. And then PMT is 554.68. Okay. So that would be option 1, right? And then question 20. Question 20 is what we call an ordinary annuity, right? Because this money is being saved at the end. Question 20. Yeah, this money is being saved each year, right? The legend plans on saving 7,914 a year. So this money is being saved each year, and we've been given an annual interest rate of 11%, and we're asked to find out how much money he has in his account at the end of 13 years. Okay, so 13 is N. We call this an ordinary annuity because the money is being paid or received at the end of each year. 13 is N. 7914 is the PMT. 11% is the interest, I over YR, and we want to calculate the future value. So we just input this into our calculator. I'm sure if you input these entries into your calculator, you should get a negative future value, but don't worry about the negative. You ignore that, and we get 207,438. Okay, right. And then question 22 says the Zuri family. Is it 22 or okay? Question 22, yes, says Eric creates an account for daughter's university education. At the beginning of each year, I think this is supposed to be his daughter's. At the beginning of each year, he deposits 3,000 into this account that earns 10% interest per year. What will the balance of the account be at the end of 12 years? Okay, so this money is being deposited at the beginning of each year. We need to put the calculator into beginning mode. And when money is being deposited or received at the beginning of each year, we call it an annuity due. An annuity due. Okay, so 12 is N, 10% is our interest, 3,000 is our PMT, and we want the future value. So we come to our financial calculator as usual. We clear, make sure our calculator is on 1 PYR. We say 12 is N, 10 is interest, 3,000 is PMT, then we press FV. Okay, sorry, I didn't put the calculator into beginning mode, you see. It's shift first, then beginning mode. That's always important. 12 is N, 10 is our interest, 3,000 is our PMT, then we press FV and we get 70,568. Okay, which is option 4. But you see, they will put both answers for when you don't put your calculator in beginning mode and when you do. So always remember to put your calculator into beginning mode, right? And last, okay, 2 more questions. Question 25. Question 25 said, Redco Limited establishes a trust fund that provides 90,000 Rand in scholarships each year for the needy. The trust fund 6%, it's actually question 25. Gracelyn wishes to determine the current value of 58,000 that will be received 7 years from now if annual interest rate is 10% compounded quarterly. So 58,000 is future value, 7 by 4 is N, 10 divided by 4 is interest, PV, we get the following answer. Don't worry about the negative. And then lastly, question 26, Cody needs an investment that will pay him 2,000 at the end of each year. for the next 5 years at an annual interest rate of 10%, how much should he invest today? So always remember, when you're now doing this other calculation, to take your calculator out of beginning mode, right? When you're done, otherwise you'll get wrong answers. Then it's 2000 PMT, 5 is N, 10 is our interest, and we get 7,581.57. Okay, so this was the homework I asked you to do. I hope you were able to do that. So let me just take you through the rest of the module, the rest of the study unit to finish time value of money. So I want to talk about 3 things. I'm going to talk about amortization, actually 4 things: amortization, and then after amortization, I'm going to talk about determining the present value of a stream of cash flows or a mixed stream. Then I'm going to talk about the present value of a perpetuity. And lastly, I'll talk about effective rates. And then I'll give you some questions to practice as homework. Okay, so let's talk about amortization first. So on a loan, we can use amortization to determine the balance of the loan at any time before it is fully paid off, the interest payment associated with the loan at any payment, the principal payment associated with the loan at any payment, the total interest paid to date, and the total principal paid to date. Okay, so in other words, if you take out a loan and you're paying money on that loan every month, or every year, with amortization, let's say it's a 10-year loan, with amortization, we can be able to calculate the balance on the loan after 3 years, for example. And with amortization, we can be able to calculate the amount from the payment that you make on the loan, the amount that goes to interest, and the amount that goes to principal. When you get a loan and you're paying off a loan, part of it is paying the money you borrowed and part of it is interest. So amortization actually helps us to break down that PMT into the part associated with the principal and the part associated with the interest. So I'm going to, and please note, whenever you're dealing with a question with amortization, you always have to first calculate your PMT, right? Before you can get any of these things I've been talking about, you always have to first get your PMT. So I'm going to take you through some examples as to how you can do amortization. So we can look at assignment 1, question 17, semester 1. Assignment 1, question 17, semester 1. Here's an example of an amortization question. The question won't say it's amortization, but you have to be able to pick it up. Rosemary borrowed 180,000 at a rate of 2% interest and must pay it in 8 installments at the end of each of the next years. How much would she still owe at the end of the first year after she has made the first payment? So she's borrowed money, she's paying this money over 8 years, and we're being asked how much is she going to owe when she's left with 7 payments. So this is an amortization problem. So we can identify what our PV is. It's 180,000. Our N is 8. Our interest is 2%. And we can take our calculator and then we can calculate the PMT. 180,000 is our PV. 8 is our N. 2 is our interest. Then we press PMT and we get 24,571.76. So this is the payment, right? So we are being asked here, how much would she still owe at the end of the first year after she has made the first payment? So we want to find out what the balance of the principal is after she's made the first payment. Okay, so to do this, we follow the following steps, right? We are dealing with the first year, right? So you press 1, input 1, We are in the first year, so it's 1 year up until the one. We are dealing with everything in the first year, so we just say one input one. Then we press the red shift button and we press amortize 3 times. Okay, let me actually show you how you would do that. So you see we've got our PMT here, and we want to find out what the balance on the loan is at the end of the first year. So we press 1, then we press input, then we press 1 again, then we press the red shift button, then we press amortize, and then the calculator will say amort per and then 1-1. Then we press equal to, and we get 20,971.76. This means from the payment that Rosemary makes, from the 24,571.76 that she pays, 20,971.76 is going to the principal. It's going down to, it's going to the money that she borrowed. Press equal to 3,600 from that 24,571 that 0.76 that we just calculated. 3,600 of that amount is interest, and the balance on the loan is 159,028.24. So this is the balance on the loan. So this would be the answer that we wanted to get. Okay, right. So that's how we got this answer. So that's how you amortize. Let's look at another example. Question 16, assignment 1, semester 2. Question 16, assignment 1, semester 2. So I want you to put the recording on pause, give this question a try, and then after a few minutes, when you've got it, put the recording on continue, and then we'll check to see what you have with what I have, just to see if you were able to get the answer. Okay, so I hope you gave that a try. Let's see how you actually did this. So as always, you always start with first calculating your PMT. 20,000 is our PV, right? Penelope borrowed 20,000, right? Our N is 4. She's borrowed that money for 4 years. The interest is 12%. We've been told it's 12% interest, right? And then we calculated our PMT, and then they wanted us to find how much of the principal amount which you have to pay in the first year. So of the payment, of this payment, how much of this payment is actually going to the principal? Okay, so let's do this calculation. As always, we clear our calculator first. Please don't forget that. Then it's 20,000. This is our PV. 4 is our N. 12 is our interest. Then we press PMT. So we want to find out what happens in the first year, right? If we wanted to find out what happens in the second year, we would say 2 input 2, right? But here it's the first year, so we say 1 input 1, right? And then we say red shift. Then we go to amort, we get amort per 1 1, then we press equal to. So 4,184.69 is the principal amount from the 6,584 being paid. 2,400 is the interest from the 6,584 being paid. And the balance on the loan is 15,815.31. So what we were concerned with is 4,184.69. Okay. So let's change the question slightly just for practice. Let's say the question had said, the question might have asked for the total principal paid between years 1 and 3. Let's say the question had said how much principal in total is paid between years 1 and 3, or between payments 1 and 3. So here we would say 1 input, then we would say 3. So we're saying from time 1 to time 3. Then we would say shift amortize, so from 1 to the 3rd payment. The total principal paid between years 1 and 3 is 14,120. The total interest paid is 5,633, and the balance on the loan is 5,879.19. So that's another way the question could be asked, right? So there you go. And also be careful if you have monthly payments. If you have monthly payments, you need to be careful, right? If you have monthly payments, please be careful. Like we can look at May, June 2019, question 21, right? May, June 2019, question 21. This question right here. The Zuri family takes out a mortgage of 800,000 from the bank to buy a new home. The bank charges an annual interest of 14% compounded monthly over 20 years. How much of the outstanding balance on the loan will the family still owe at the end of the first year, right? So the amount borrowed is 800,000. That's a negative PV. Our interest is 14% divided by 12 because it's compounded monthly. 20 by 12 is n. Then we calculate our PMT, right? Let's just do that. We say, okay, cancel 800,000. Always put your PV as a negative, okay? 14 divided by 12 is our interest. 20 by 12 is our N, and we get a PMT of 9,948. Now, this question has said, okay, let me just put it on. The question has said, how much of the outstanding balance on the loan will the family still owe at the end of the first year? Now, at the end of the first year, the family will have made 12 payments because we have compounded monthly. This is now different from the other questions we were doing where payments were annual. Payments now are monthly. So at the end of the first year, it means that this family will have paid 12 payments. So that's very important. If you're compounding monthly, it means that after 1 year, you've actually made 12 payments. So we say 12, input 12, and then we press the red shift button for amortize. Then we go there. So it tells us the 12th payment, which is at the end of the first year, equal to, this is the principal, this is the interest, and the balance on the loan is 792,129.62. Okay. So please be careful of that. So the answer there would be option 129, option 3. Okay. Then next, you need to know about determining the present value of a stream of cash flows. You need to be able to determine the present value of a stream of cash flows. This is also known as the present value of a mixed stream. So to determine the present value of a stream of cash flows, we use